Hi, everybody. Welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. My name is Jared. We're going to read out of D&C 101, verses 32 to 34. Yea, verily I say unto you, in that day when the Lord shall come, he shall reveal all things, things which have passed, and hidden things which no man knew, things of the earth, by which it was made, and the purpose and the end thereof, things most precious, things that are above, and things that are beneath, things that are in the earth, and upon the earth, and in heaven. So I've always been fascinated by these verses just because it sounds pretty epic. You know, of course, this is talking about the second coming and the millennium and how it's going to be a time of revelation. And there's other, places in the scriptures where it talks about things that are going to be revealed during the millennium. But this one mentions, things like things that are in the earth and under the earth and stuff like that, or beneath. So I'm excited for it. I think it's one more reason to be excited for the millennium is to see what there is that's going to be revealed. Let me share what it says in the Institute student manual for these verses. Explaining how the Lord shall reveal all things when he comes again, Elder Bruce R. McConkie taught, quote, all things are to be revealed in the millennial day. The sealed part of the Book of Mormon will come forth. The brass plates will be translated. The writings of Adam, and Enoch and Noah and Abraham and prophets without number will be revealed. We shall learn 1,000 times more about the earthly ministry of the Lord Jesus than we know now. We shall learn great mysteries of the kingdom that were not even known to those of old, who walked and talked with the Eternal One. We shall learn the details of the creation and the origin of man. Elder McConkie concluded that in the millennial day, quote, nothing in or on or over the earth will be withheld. And so with that in mind, you may know I've already done a bunch of videos about different things that are being discovered by archaeologists. And I have this video, in fact, right here that's 2 hours long, where I went through everything that I know of right now that I'm tracking. And we've come across some pretty spectacular things. And I've created a spreadsheet. This is how I keep track of things. And I have it on a timeline. Let me just do a quick review of what I have so far. And then we're going to hop over to this article that I want to go over about Noah's Ark. This is from the Brighter Side of News. Ancient discovery, international team of scientists may have found Noah's Ark. I've heard, like, through my life, I've heard like a bunch of different times when articles like this have come out where they've done some kind of like scan or whatever. I think there's different sites that have been proposed as the site of Noah's Ark. So it's never really interested me until now. And now, because I'm doing this YouTube channel and I'm fascinated by all the things that have been discovered recently. But on my spreadsheet, it actually goes all the way back to 1946. That's when the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered. And of course, let me just show you on the map, the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered over here along the shore of the Dead Sea, okay, in the northwest. Here's Jerusalem. Here's where the Dead Sea Scrolls were found, in this area right here. Okay, and then after that, 1961, Khirbet Bet Lehi was discovered. And there are those that believe that it was the residence of Lehi. Others that don't. There's kind of like a debate going on. But you can look that up. I've done a video about it. It's in this video that I did that was 2 hours long. I'll put a link for this video in the description below in case you missed it. But Khirbet Bet Lehi, you see Jerusalem right here at the top right. It's down here by Lachish. Khirbet Bet Lehi. Okay. And then there was a second round of excavations that happened in 1983 because the first time it got interrupted by, I can't remember what, but I think it just internal chaos within the country and conflict. 2004, the Pool of Siloam was discovered. So now let's go to Jerusalem. Before this was discovered, and it was discovered by accident, there was another location here in the city of David somewhere. No, in fact, I have it here. Okay, there was this area right here that they thought was the Pool of Siloam. But it was actually that area where there is like a pool, it was constructed much later. And then they realized that this is the actual pool of Siloam down here. Like I said, it was discovered by accident, and they're currently excavating it, and they plan to restore it and bring it back into a functioning pool. So that's really neat. It's at the tip of the city of David. You see this kind of like shape right here. This is the original Jerusalem before it was expanded, before the time of the first temple. But the Pool of Siloam right there, very important site. That's where you'd get the water for temple rituals, like at the Feast of Tabernacles. And if you're coming to Jerusalem from the south, you would come through here and go to the Pool of Siloam. It was a mikvah, so you'd wash in there and then make your way up and then go to the Temple Mount. So it's really significant that they found that. All right. And then 2005, again, another round of excavating at Khirbet Bet Lehi. 2010, Melchizedek's temple was discovered. And there really is reason to believe that it really was Melchizedek's temple, because it was found right here, again, in the city of David. And like I said, this is the original Jerusalem, and this is the original city of Salem. And so they've uncovered it. They found symbols that you would probably recognize if you've gone to one of our temples. There's an altar there for burning sacrifices, and another altar, the type that you would like kneel at. It's called a matzeva, and similar to our temples, the altars that we kneel at in our temples. So that's really neat that they found that. 2013, Khirbet Qeiyafa, or the palace and royal storehouse that belonged to King David, was discovered. And that is actually outside of Jerusalem, right here, north of Khirbet Bet Lehi, right here. Okay. And then Dead Sea Scrolls, a new cave was discovered in 2017. Also in 2017, the biblical site of Shiloh, or what is believed to be the biblical site of Shiloh, started to be excavated. That's up here. It's in the West Bank, and it's north of Jerusalem. But this is the area where the tabernacle was for a long time, before they constructed Solomon's temple. And they looked at these dimensions right here. You can't see it too well from this image, but basically this like rectangular area, or no, sorry. This one right here, this matches up with the dimensions of the tabernacle. So they've made a lot of interesting discoveries there. 2021, the Dead Sea Scrolls, first new fragments found in 60 years, which is kind of unbelievable that they're still discovering more fragments, and they don't know what else there is. They're still going over that area to find more caves. 2022, the Pool of Siloam, full excavation announced. And that brings us to what we're going to talk about in this video. There's a rock formation in Turkey known as the Durapınar Formation, that some people believe could be Noah's Ark. And let's just hop into the article. Actually, first, I'm going to be reading from this one, the brighter side of news. But whenever I come across like lesser known news sites like this, I like to make sure that like some larger ones are covering the same thing. And you have New York Post, and then you also have Popular Mechanics, but they're not as optimistic in their articles as the brighter side of news article. But the New York Post, they have some images to look at, and here you can see what could easily be viewed as the shape of a ship. I don't know what this is around the side. Some people think that it's, I guess, petrified wood, or I don't know if this would be the type of thing where like the ship settled right there, and then over time the dirt and stuff around it maybe solidified. I don't know. I'm not a geologist, but I wonder if something like that could have happened. And what you're seeing here is not actually petrified wood, but like rock or something that solidified around the boat. But Anyway, so there's that. That gives you a pretty good idea of like what it looks like. Here's another one. Okay, there's a depiction of Noah's Ark, and then here's a historical image of it. It says a 1961 aerial view compared to a 2019 aerial view of the formation as landslides have damaged the structure over the years. So, and I guess that's not too apparent from this picture because you just kind of see like the shape of it, but you can't really make out the ridges like you can in this picture in the middle. Here's another one. The size and shape of the formation correlate with the dimensions of what the ark is said to be in the Bible book of Genesis. A length of 300 cubits, its width 50 cubits, and its height 30 cubits. Okay, and then that's pretty much it. Here, you can kind of see it right here. Not as well as the other pictures, but okay, the brighter side of news. Ancient Discovery International team of scientists may have found Noah's Ark. This came out on the 30th of December. In what some are calling a discovery of biblical proportions, an international team of scientists may have found evidence pointing to the location of the legendary Noah's Ark. Nestled in the eastern mountains of Turkey, recent findings shed light on the existence of humans at this site during the period between 5500 and 3000 BC. So let's go back to Google Earth and let's go to the site. The correct me if you know how to pronounce this, but I think it's pronounced the Durapinar site. Okay, so here it is on Google Earth. Okay, and if we zoom out, so we can see the borders of Turkey, so you can kind of like get an idea where this is at. Zoom out a little bit more. Come on, borders, where are you? No borders. It's the millennium. This is the millennial Google Earth. I don't know why it's having issues, but okay, there you go. You see the yellow border there. So on this side is Turkey, on this side is Iran, and then Armenia is just north. And so it's really close to the border right here with Iran. It's in the northeast part of Turkey. According to a recent report in the Turkish newspaper Hurriyet, rock and soil samples from the site showed the presence of clay-like materials, marine materials, and seafood. This suggests the area might have been underwater at some point, fueling the theory that this could be the resting place of Noah's Ark. So you may have noticed when we were looking at this, there's not really an ocean or anything too close by. Once you get to this point, this altitude, you can see that on either side of it, you have the Caspian Sea over here and then the Black Sea over here. But it's pretty much equidistant between those two seas. And then to the north and to the south, there are some lakes. But like in this area, that's pretty much as far inland as you can go if you're trying to get as far away as from the Caspian and the Black Sea as you can, like in this area right here. So they discovered, what did they say again? How did they say it? Clay-like materials, marine materials, and seafood. Okay, so at some point it seems like that area was underwater, and that would make sense. You know, let's go back to one of these pictures here. So we have a rock formation in the shape of a boat. And not only that, but it's the right dimensions as described in the Bible. And not only that, but you have these things that were found there: seafood, marine material, and clay. So it's a lot of things that are matching up. The research collaboration includes experts from 3 renowned universities from Turkey and the U.S. who began investigating the site in 2021. The group, named the Mount Ararat and Noah's Ark Research Team, was specifically formed to conduct scientific research on these ruins. Their initial study was launched in December 2022. For those unfamiliar with the region, the site is less than 2 miles from the Iran-Turkey border. in the Dogubayatazit district of Agri. There lies the Durupinar Formation, an impressive 538-foot geographical feature composed of limonite or limonite. Some believe it to be the petrified remains of Noah's Ark due to its shape and size. In an exciting turn of events, scientists collected nearly 30 samples from this formation and sent them to Istanbul Technical University for analysis. The results were astonishing. The age of the samples were determined to be between 3,500 and 5,000 years old, which coincides with the widely accepted timeline of the biblical flood. Professor Dr. Farouk Kaya, the vice rector of Agri Ibrahim Sessin University, elaborated on the findings. Quote, according to the initial results, it's believed there were human activities in this region since the Chalcolithic period, he said. This period spans from 5,500 to 3,000 BC. The dimensions of the Durupinar Formation are consistent with the biblical description of the ark. Quote, a length of 300 cubits, its width 50 cubits, and its height 30 cubits, end quote. The biblical account also recounts how God instructed Noah, then 600 years old, to construct the ark and stock it with 2 of every animal species to survive the imminent global flood. So what's interesting, and I just kind of want to show you this in a different way. You may or may not know that there have been full-scale replicas of Noah's Ark that have been constructed. And if you've been to one of these, let me know. Let me know which one you went to, because these look pretty incredible. But there's one in, we'll go in this order. So there's this one in Kentucky, the U.S. state of Kentucky, and you can see this thing is just massive. Here, let's go look at it on Google Earth. I'll let that go over there. But here's like a 360 view, and it's just gigantic. I don't know how it compares to modern day ships. I have no familiarity with like Navy ships or oil tankers or anything like that, but I'm thinking that this looks like it could be the size maybe of like an oil tanker, maybe a little bit smaller. I don't know. Let me know what you think or what you know about how this compares to modern day ships. But either way, it's massive. Over here, you can see, like, look at the people right here. Like, there's that person in that pink shirt. It's gigantic. So there's this one in Kentucky. Google Earth. Here it is. And you can measure it. So I don't know any of the history of this site. I'm sure that they made it as authentic as possible, which you can only do so much. But as far as like determining the dimensions, I'm sure they did their best to do that. And so their replica measures about 520 feet or so. Okay. 520 feet. Let's compare that to the Durupinar site. Zoom in. Okay. So the Durupinar site from this tip to this one over here is about 500 feet, give or take. So it's about the same size as the one in Kentucky. Okay, and then we have this one in the Netherlands, also massive. This one actually on water, it looks like. From what I saw online, it seems like it's closed right now. When I was looking on Google Maps, and this is the only 360 image that I could find. There's like a little tugboat right there with like some kind of, I don't know, thing for hauling stuff around. But this thing is just huge. Okay, so here's the one. Here it is on Google Earth. Let's measure this. I don't know how accurate this is, but on Google Earth, this one is saying it's more like 400 feet. So on the Wikipedia article, it says that this is a full scale reproduction. So I don't know if they just calculated the qubits differently. And then there's this one in Hong Kong, and there you can see a bridge in the background and people, and it's just looming large. It's absolutely gigantic. There's a 360, and they have, this one's pretty cool because they have animals coming out this like hatch right here, this door. But it's huge. I would like to see the original one. I'd like to see it. I'd like to tour it. You know? Oh, I didn't notice this the first time. There's some badgers right there. Some badgers and polar bears, all the typical animals that you see whenever you see depictions of Noah's Ark. So it's huge. Let's go to Google Earth. Here it is. Go from right here to right here. And this one is a little bit short of 500 feet. It's like 400 and, I don't know, like let's say it like maybe like 485 feet, something like that. So just so you can see, here's an example of these like full scale replicas, people that have put in the work to determine what the dimensions would be. And it matches up really well with the Durapinar site. Both the length as well as just the general shape, the width, the length. I mean, I don't know about the height. There's not really anything there right now to determine the height, but the length and width, yes. Okay, so let's go back to this. Interestingly, the Durapinar Formation wasn't a recent find. It was initially discovered by a Kurdish farmer in 1948. I suppose I should put that on my spreadsheet. I wasn't thinking about that. I'll put that down. 1948. Okay. Let's go back. Let's look at this really quick. That was only a couple years after the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls. I wonder if that's significant in any way. Let me do this. Durapar Formation. Oops. Durapar Formation. Noah's Ark discovered. And I'll do the reference later. Okay, later in 1951, Turkish Army Captain İlhan Durapinar identified the site while on a NATO mapping mission. This discovery was made public by the Noah's Ark Scans Project. I don't know what that is. That might be something to look into. In a recent gathering, the 7th International Symposium on Mount Ararat and Noah's Ark was held in the area. Speaking at the symposium, Professor Dr. Kaya highlighted the significance of their findings. Quote, "An essential outcome of the symposium is the decision to conduct more research in Kudi and Ararat, known as the Mesopotamian region. Both are referenced in the Holy Quran and the Bible," he stated. This discovery has the potential to reshape our understanding of of one of the most famous tales in religious history. While it's too early to say with certainty that this is indeed the final resting place of Noah's Ark, the evidence suggests that the story might have a basis in reality. The world will undoubtedly watch with bated breath as further research unveils more about this intriguing site. So, what's interesting is that you have these things that are kind of some of them are just full on coming to light, like Melchizedek's temple, for example. Right? We're getting close to the second coming. These things are being discovered, and you have the people that don't believe. The people that don't believe in the scriptures, they don't believe in the Bible or anything like that. But these things are coming to light as we near the second coming. And it's like, we don't need the evidence, right? All throughout history, there have been people of faith that had no tangible evidence of whatever, like a Bible story or anything. They have faith. They can feel the Spirit. And the way that the Lord works is that He doesn't typically give proof. Like sometimes he does, but usually it's like on a smaller scale. So for example, with the Book of Mormon in the gold plates, there were a few people that were permitted to actually witness them, but just a handful of people, not very much. But what's interesting is that when we reach the millennium, the only people that are going to remain are people of faith and then the good people of the world, which probably most of them also have faith. And so because they already have faith, then it'll be a good time for these things to be handled and unveiled for everybody to see, because you already have the faith necessary and now they're being revealed. Does that make sense? So maybe that's a reason why there's been so many of these discoveries recently. And there's undoubtedly going to be more. And then in the millennium itself, in some kind of way, I don't know if there's going to be archaeology during the millennium. I don't know if just everything's going to come up out of the ground that was buried or how it's going to work. But there's going to be more things that come forward in whichever way. I'm hoping that if this is the site of Noah's Ark, I'm hoping that during the millennium we can go there and it'll be more accessible, easier to travel there, not have to worry about like a passport or anything like that. Not that that would stop you, but it's just a hindrance. There's not going to be, there's not going to be borders, I don't think. If there are borders, it's going to be like the United States or the European Union, where you can just travel anywhere. But it'd be really neat to actually go there and see this and know that this is the site of Noah's Ark. And now what I don't know if because the mountains are going to be made low, the elements are going to melt with fervent heat. I don't know if something like this would remain or if it would, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But we're living in exciting times where things like this are happening. If this does turn out to be Noah's Ark, if they're able to find it, and that's like another question I have. It didn't say in any of the articles, excuse me, what the next steps are. But this article from the brighter side of news seems to suggest that they have more things that they're going to do, more tests or something. Like they have a plan. Like this isn't the end of it. So we'll just have to wait for those stories to come out once they do. But that's going to be it for this one. So if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you liked it, leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Also make sure to share it, and I'll talk to you guys later.